Welcome back to another episode of Building the Pride. I'm your host, Drew, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Mike. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Drew. How about yourself?
Things are looking up. So I'm getting close to the end of my probationary period at work. I've had good reviews, which will mean changes for the show when I move to second shift. So we're going to have to talk about that. So there could be changes coming to the show, everybody, if this is the first you're hearing of it. I do apologize. Otherwise, it's football season, college and professional, and I'm excited about that. So, and we are going to talk about some of it today. So
we are. Did you have a good weekend? Did you do anything fun over the long weekend?
I played with my nephew. Labor Day is not traditionally one that we used to have like a parade or something in my hometown of Vicksburg or something, and like some kind of community event. My parents used to go to that, but like traditions only last so long as the next generation continue to support them and do them, right? So
right,
that I'm learning as I get older that that's not always the case, and like how do people do all this stuff, So we have now just kind of like made it more of an insular family holiday where we hang out together and talk, and I powerbomb my 5-year-old nephew into the bed. And,
nice.
He loves it, of course, because when you're 5, you should see him jump. Right? You should see him jump around. He's like a cat. Like the number of times that he'll like jump off the couch onto the ground and then like go down to like the point where he's like laying on the ground and then just get up is truly astonishing. I don't know how they do it. We should be looking into this and researching why kids can do this and why adults can't, and then trying to mimic those conditions and put them in a pill of some kind and give them to people.
Sign me up for that pill, man. Ever since my birthday, it's like I've noticed, it's like bending over to pick something up off the floor or standing up from sitting down, going upstairs. You can't go two or three at a time, just running up the stairs anymore. You're like, all right, I'm trudging up one at a time. I'm going to use something to, push off of to get my, cranky old butt up. So the joys of aging.
Yeah, the ground gets further away each year, right?
This is true.
What's up, Donkey Kong? How you doing, buddy?
So for today, as we talked about in previous shows, we are finally having our season preview, the season in preview for 25-26 football season. We've got a whole lineup of just things to talk about and things we can kind of vamp on as far as like what's upcoming. So let me see if I can track down where our list is. Of course, my screen blanked out. All right. So let's do this. Do you want to talk about each NFL division and kind of talk about where we see each team landing, which kind of puts us into the whole playoff atmosphere?
Sure. Let's do that.
All right. So
you're going to hate my NFC West predictions.
All right. Teams. Man, the NFL site's going slow today. Or it's possibly my laptop.
No, couldn't be your laptop. Must be the NFL's website.
Yeah, absolutely. It must be the website of a multi-billion-dollar corporation and not my, my own hardware here. Come on.
Classic Building the Pride right here.
Yeah, this is the high-end production value that you've come to know and loathe.
See, that's why I know that our people, our fans, people that come and hang out and chat, I know they must like us, despite this other stuff. There's no other way to figure it out. I mean, you can't describe what's going on.
All right, so this should do at least enough. So we'll go by And before you even ask,
I like that it's only just taken us like 2.5 years to get to the point where you just automatically do it.
Sigh. All right, so AF list. Where I'm on NFL's website right now in their standing. So let's just go top to bottom where they've got it, which starts with the AFC East. The Bills, Dolphins, Jets, and Pats.
There was a trade since then, Kenny. I don't know if you heard, but now everybody loves the Packers. So we'll get to that, though. I like this ranking. Some people are picking the Pats as like a low-key wild card contender, and I can't see it yet. Their offensive line is just, I don't think, up to snuff, and I think the NFL is very interesting this year because it seems like you're either all in on skill players, you're all in on your offensive line, and then everyone seems to be trying to stock up on defense. And honestly, I think the teams that are going to float to the top of their conferences are the ones who have either the best quarterbacks or like the most well-rounded rosters. So I don't think the Patriots fit into that description of either one of those things. Drake May, I think, will be a good quarterback, but I don't think that their roster is well-rounded at all. They have a nice defense. I think the Jets win total's low here. And like Mike McDonald might just get fired. I mean, to be honest, like if they don't start the season strong, he could be a hot seat contender. So we'll see.
You may or may not have spoiled one of my bold bets.
That's fine.
About Mike McDonald getting fired by Thanksgiving. I've got this. Yeah, spoiler alert. When we get to the bold bets, that's mine. That's one of mine. I think the Patriots are definitely. I think they're going to be over 4 wins. I think they're going to be closer to that 8-9 record that the Dolphins are. I mean, I think the Bills are definitely the class of the division, right? They are a step above all the 3 others. Tua is a decent quarterback. Hopefully, he stays healthy. I don't even know who the Jets quarterback is right now.
The Jets quarterback is Justin Fields.
Oh, that's right. So you got Justin Fields, Drake May, and Tua Tagovailoa. None of them have very well-rounded rosters. I think the Patriots are a little bit younger, so I think they've got a bit more of a jump from 4 wins to 8 wins. That's double your win total. It's still not going to get you in the playoffs. So my guess is they're closer to that 500, 8-9, 9-8. But I think all 3 of these teams are going to be in that like 7, 8, 9 win range, and they're just all going to be fighting for a distant second place. None of which are going to make the playoffs.
Yeah. No, the Bills are the cream of the crop in that division. It's not close. What do we got next?
The AFC North. We got the Ravens, the Steelers, the Bengals, and the Browns.
So I don't like this. Orange. I don't like this order. I have it Ravens, Bengals, Steelers, Browns. I think that people are thinking that the Steelers are a lot better than they're going to be. I see them closer.
They have Aaron Rodgers now, though, Drew. They're going to be just.
There's no quarterback, maybe in NFL history, that's lived off his reputation quite as hard as Aaron Rodgers has toward the end of their career. So I see Steelers as more of like a 7-win team. Maybe I'm crazy, but I don't think that they're the behemoths that they have been. Like, there's questions on their offensive line. They have a new quarterback and a new set of skill players. Is their running game so good that they can afford to lose a George Pickens? And is DK Metcalf so good that he can afford to do what he does without virtually any help from the skill position group?
I mean, Najee Harris is good, but he's not like
he's not even on the team.
Game changing,
He's a Charger. I mean, like, he's not.
Oh, that's right. He's not even there anymore.
So he's not there. So I mean, like, right?
And that's just no, they're not.
Yeah, no.
I totally forgot about that.
So I see this more as Ravens, Bengals, Steelers, Browns. Browns might be truly horrific this season just because of their quarterback situation. But once again, they have a stout defense, which is probably going to help keep them in games they otherwise shouldn't be in. But I think that the Ravens are probably the best team in this division by 3 games.
Yeah. Not quite as blatant as like the Bills over the rest of theirs, but I think the Bengals are probably gonna, assuming they don't come out flat like they've done the last couple of years, I think they could win somewhere between 11 and 13 games.
They did play
in there, but
they did let their starters play in the preseason, which is a change for them. So I think that's a direct response to, we've come out slow in the past. We don't want that to happen this year. Here's one of the changes we're making is to get our starters however many offensive possessions they got in the preseason. So we'll see.
AFC South, the Texans, the Colts, the Jags, and the Titans.
I have the Colts winning this division on tiebreakers. So I think the Colts are a 9-8 team. I think the Texans are a 9-8 team, and I think the Colts will win the head-to-head to win the division. And then Jags, Titans. I think the Jags will win more than 4 games, but this is not a good division, I don't think, top to bottom. It's a bunch of middling to poor teams, in my opinion. We'll see how it shakes out. But I am betting on the fact that, 1, the Texans' offensive line might be the worst in football. And 2, I think that Daniel Jones for the Colts has the best group of skill position players, offensive line, defense, and coaching he's ever had. And I don't expect him to be excellent. I don't expect him to have the same kind of season like Sam Darnold had last year. But I think that he can keep the offense going, and if he limits the mistakes that have I know it's weird to say, but like if he limits the mistakes that have kind of plagued him in his career, which seems good we've seen what raising the floor of a team does for a quarterback who if
you can turn those mistakes into just those interceptions, even into just throwaways where that's not a change of possession. Look at what Geno Smith has kind of resurrected his career. Not that he's like an elite high-end guy, but like he's turned it around where he's actually a competent starter now. Mm-hmm. Sam Darnold resurrected his career by reducing his number of turnovers and mistakes. And Josh Allen went from a really good quarterback that was like a better version of Jameis Winston, right? Like, throw for 450 yards, but probably 4 interceptions at the same time. To a dude that had 40-ish touchdowns and only 8 interceptions, and I don't say he ran away. Like, he won the MVP. Like, he took a huge step forward. So if Daniel Jones can reduce those mistakes, I think his opportunity to have a Sam Darnold-like year dramatically improves.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you don't have to turn a mistake into like a really great thing, but just if you turn a mistake into not a mistake,
right?
You're doing it. You're probably playing the position the way closer to what it should be played. So yeah, I have it Colts, Texans, Jags, Titans, and like Texans, Colts, and Jags might all be right around the same win totals. So who knows?
I don't think the Jags are going to get quite up there, but I think the Texans and the Colts are going to be the two fighting it out for 1 and 2. This may be the toughest division in the AFC, with the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Broncos, and the Raiders.
Yeah, there's a real chance. The Broncos were a playoff team last year. I've got this Chief, Broncos, Chargers, Raiders. I've got the Raiders winning more than 4 games. I think that I do think that Geno Smith is a quarterback that, top, if he plays as well as he can play, he's 14th best in the NFL, something like that. And if you get that version of Geno Smith, you commit to the run with by drafting Ashton Jeanty, and I don't particularly hate their offensive line. I think that's a team that can just grind out some games. The Broncos seem to be, I don't know, the Broncos win total here seems to be underrepresented because I don't know what the Chargers did in the offseason that made them worthy of being now thought of as better than a playoff team. They lost Rashawn Slater. That's a big loss. They moved Joe Alt to the left side. So if he's competent as a left side pass protector, which was what he was at Notre Dame, then I think that you've got something that stands in for the guy and you don't lose as much. Their right tackle position now is terrible, but they drafted Omari and Hampton. Jim Harbaugh is going to want to run the ball. So, but I don't know. I mean, they drafted Trey Harris. He's a wide receiver, but he's a rookie. So like, what are you going to get? Like, how are you helping Justin Herbert? So their defense could be good once again, but they lost. Did they lose Khalil Mack? No, he's still on the team, right? But Joey Bosa is in Buffalo now. So like, you could argue whether or not Joey Bosa is as big of a loss as he might have been 3 years ago, for sure. But he's still a good player, who would help, I think, a Chargers defense. And so they just didn't have the money. So, I mean, in order to justify 11 wins, I think Justin Herbert's going to have to be like the kind of quarterback that's
carries the team.
Yeah, he basically has to be like, okay, I don't necessarily have the greatest group of skill position players out there, but I'm going to throw this guy open, or I'm going to, elevate the play of people around me. And like, if for a guy who's widely considered to be a quote unquote somewhere between top 5 to 10 quarterback in the NFL, you got to do that, and like, if we get the same version of Justin Herbert this year that we got last year, I'm not going to keep putting him in the top 5 of quarterbacks in the NFL. Like, it's time to like show production to go along with your talent, and like Joe Burrow has done that. Josh Allen has certainly done that. And like, they've realized their potential. And I'm like, as far as I am concerned, like Justin Herbert has not had his talent translate into production.
Yeah, into wins.
Right. So
I don't know why I feel this way, but as I was going through, I did a pick 'em for every single game for every single week, and I ended up with Chargers actually winning the division over the Chiefs. And I think their schedule is maybe a little bit easier. And I think maybe their harder games that were more coin flippy were at home than away. Mm-hmm. And so I think that landed me there. I'm not a believer in Bo Nix yet. He had a great year last year. I'd like to see another one. So I figured that they would be third in the division. And the Chiefs, I think I don't know how they won 15. They went 15-2 last year. I just don't think the quality of their roster. I mean, I do. Patrick Mahomes is a big piece of that. I just don't think, and their coach is amazing. I just don't think their roster is as good as it once was, which is why they got absolutely smoked in the Super Bowl. But I think that step back allows the Chargers to like nudge forward. So I've got it: Chargers, Chiefs, Broncos, Raiders. In the Raiders, I have with 3 wins.
Okay.
Again, I don't know exactly like what made me go, yeah, this is the Chargers. Like, this is the year that Herbert is going to turn those really good stats into W's. But that's that's kind of how I ended up with it.
I like it. I can't wait to see what actually happens. So
I'd love to see a non-Chiefs division win.
They got better coaching in the division now. I mean, every one of those coaches in there is a stud. So,
all right, on to the NFC, the Super Bowl champion Eagles, the Commanders who beat the crap out of us in the playoffs, the Cowboys who just traded away one of the most dynamic defensive players in the NFL, and the New York Giants.
I like the order. I think the Commanders win total is tough. it's certainly feasible. They traded for Laramie Tunstall as a blindside protector for Jane Daniels. Jane Daniels, I think the team goes as Jane Daniels goes, right? So like, what's the second chapter of Jane Daniels? Is he going to stay the same? In which case, this is a completely feasible win total. Does he get better? Completely feasible win total. Or does he regress? So like, I usually, when we see regression from the quarterback position in year 2, there's 2 things that happen. The offensive line got worse, so they asked the quarterback to start doing things he didn't do last year that he may not be comfortable with, and that kind of screws up the chemistry and the rhythm of what the offense was trying to do, right? So like, you do need to be able to add to a quarterback's responsibility tally, quotient, whatever. But considering how well Washington played last year with Jaden Daniels, if you want to just run that shit back, fine with me. I mean, he is on year 2 of his rookie contract. So shit's fine. I don't know what you really need to do different, but I like their coaching. Dan Quinn is as aggressive a coach with his play calling as any coach in the NFL. I think that matters in the modern NFL. Cowboys might be a lot worse than this, to be honest. So
I have them behind the Giants.
Oh, interesting.
I have the Cowboys with 3 wins and the Giants at like
5. So I do think
5.
the Cowboys, I would split the difference. I would put them both at like, say, 5
4.
But like, yeah, something like that, somewhere in that range, because the Cowboys now effectively cannot rush the passer. They traded Micah Parsons. So now they have a couple of rookies. Donovan Ezeraku, I believe, is on that team. They have a couple. Marshawn Nealand, a second-round pick from 2 years ago, who was at Western Michigan, is now their secondary pass rusher. You know, and the Giants, for as much as like he's kind of been maligned over the last couple of years, Russell Wilson's not a bad quarterback. Like, I think that he's shown now, outside of that like first season in Denver when their roster was being turned over and they had a new coaching change and like they were going through a roster rebuild. Like, I think that he has played well, not great, but well.
Yeah, he's been fine. He's been a guy.
Yeah, and so like, I think the Giants are going to have a really good defensive line. If their defense stays healthy, I think their defense will be in the top half of the NFL. And, you know, if they get a good season from their that left tackle of theirs, that young left tackle, Andrew Thomas.
Yeah, for the Giants?
Yeah, and their second-year center that they drafted a couple of years ago, if he takes a step, like, they might have the makings of a solid offensive line, you know, and they still have Malik Neighbors and a slew of other guys that all play the same position. So, I mean, like, there's a chance that the defense is good and the offense is functional, you know, and like, I think that if that's the case, I think that translates to more than a 3-win team. But like, I might be really worried about Dallas. I mean,
like, worried as in like that they might not hit the 3
no,
or 4 wins, or
I think their offense. Well, I think that they're putting an awful lot on Dak to CeeDee Lamb translating into wins. So Micah just got $188 million over 4 years from the Packers, and then the next couple like days later, Dallas signs their second corner, Deron Bland, to a $92 million deal. So that's half of it. You know, like, now you can spend the other 90. That's $90 million is a lot of money, right? Even for a football team. So like, you can spend that 90 however you want on other players, but like, Deron Bland plus the next $90 million that you spend on that roster is probably not worth Micah Parsons. So like, the opportunity cost here is enormous, because I think it takes a defense that was like, I think Micah Parsons to that defense really mattered, because he generated pass rush, which I think made the cornerbacks and the secondary look better. And like, now everybody's basically like, we're standing on our responsibilities on our own talent with no one to cover up our mistakes. Or whatever, and I think that their defense is not good. So
well, and Kenny Clark isn't like a throw in. Like he's a good player, but he's a DT. He's not going to put the pressure on the quarterback to make mistakes, rush throws that help the corners out, right? So that's where Parsons really is going to show far more value than what Kenny Clark is going to do for them.
Yeah, so Eric Schlitt from Pride of Detroit has said that Kenny Clark has been a quote-unquote Lions killer over his time in Green Bay, like just being able to stop the run. And like that is one thing that I will say that Jerry Jones has been consistent about in his rhetoric is that they got to get better at stopping the run. And so, but like I'm telling you what, like stopping the run is good and every team should do it. But like what you are saying is like our defense has the ability to be here. Like they drop their ceiling to raise their floor, I think.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think it's all coming down to like if they hit on those 2 first-round picks they got from Green Bay, which let's be real, like are going to be in the mid to late 20s, if not lower.
And it doesn't help them this year.
Right. So, I mean, like, right. Like, that's just it. Like one of the big criticisms about the move was that you didn't do this before the draft.
Yeah.
So
crazy, isn't it?
It's just the decision-making sometimes very much perplexes me about the NFL, but I'm not a billionaire, so I don't know what it's like. So.
Yeah, as I look at their depth chart, I see, okay, they got Dak Prescott at quarterback. He's better than average, right? I mean, hell, one year he had MVP votes until he got hurt at the very end of the season, and he played well. But most of the time, he's 10 to 18th best quarterback, right? Usually closer to 10 than 18, but he's better than average, nothing special. You got CeeDee Lamb, who is a top 5, top 6 wide receiver. George Pickens, who's good, but like they'll be interesting. And then you're just like, okay, well, who else do they have that they can rely on to win games for them? And the answer is nobody. Maybe Brandon Aubrey, who's a damn good kicker, but if you're like, our kicker's going to be the guy that sets us apart, you're probably not going to be winning too many games, right?
Yeah, it's true. I'm done talking about this. I mean, like, yeah, we said it. Oh, Donkey Kong got an important remembers the headache Parsons was becoming. We're going to get Parsons drama much closer now in the NFC North. Well, I mean, like, I think that he has a legit gripe. Is that I think that what someone is worth is what someone is willing to pay them. So Micah Parsons is worth $47 million a year to the Green Bay Packers, right? So he's worth that much money because someone's willing to give it to him. But at the same time, like, I don't think that he caused this situation. I think this is a Jerry Jones. If Jerry Jones didn't start the fire, he threw gas on it. Is the way that I look at it. And like, then it got out of control. And most of the time I'm willing to put I'm willing to put 50% of the blame on the player. This feels like 75-25 Jerry to me. So, but I don't care. I mean, it's not my team. Here's my team. Yeah.
NFC North.
This is ridiculous.
Lions, Vikings, Packers, and Bears.
This is ridiculous. Who did this?
This is based on last year's. These are last year's numbers.
Oh, these are last year's numbers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think they're predicting the Minnesota Vikings are going to win 14 games this year.
No, that
would be crazy.
Yeah. So I have this division as Lions, Packers, Bears, Vikings. Because, and I love JJ for what he did at Michigan, but he's a rookie quarterback. And he's the only one in the division. And I think that I like the Packers roster quite a bit. I like it more now than I did this time last week. And I think the Vikings made good signings and draft picks to their roster. But let's see, And Ben Johnson's in Chicago. Apparently, Ben Johnson called our new offensive coordinator, Morton, during the recruitment process to get him he wanted him in Chicago.
Yeah.
And Sean Payton called Morton and he wanted him in Denver, and he came and worked with Dan Campbell in Detroit. So
came back to
Yeah, so all the people out there that are like, there's turnover at coordinator. Like, Ben Johnson and Sean Payton both wanted this guy, and he's in Detroit. So, I mean, like, I don't know if that helps or hurts your perception of him, but, like, he was an avid commodity this season. So, I mean, I think the tale of this division will be, how does the quarterback play in the other three teams in the division shake out? Who plays the best out of Caleb Williams, Jordan Love, JJ McCarthy? Because there's a world out there where each one of them plays better than the others. And whoever plays better than them, I think the rest of these rosters are good enough to put them in wild card contention. So I'm betting on the Packers because they seem like they are ready to go.
Most well-rounded team.
Yeah, and I think that they're raw. But like even though I like the Packers roster the best out of these teams, like I still think top to bottom, like none of these other three teams' rosters are close to what Detroit has. And like that's the reason why I'm so confident this year.
Yeah, I mean, we lost an all-pro center and a Pro Bowl guard on our offensive line, and we're still, I think, kind of heads and tails above everybody else.
Yeah.
That's not including the fact that we got Tyreek Williams, and like we added some players that are really good. DJ Reader, like we also improved other areas, but I think even if we hadn't, I still think that we're just a much better team even after losing an all-pro and a Pro Bowler.
Right. So
NFC South, the Buccaneers, the Falcons, the Panthers, and the Aints.
I like the order here for this year. I do think the Falcons have the potential to challenge for the division. I think the Panthers are going to take a step better. So I think that they'll win something like 7 games this year. New Orleans is, I think, probably the worst team in the NFL.
Worse than the Raiders?
Yes. The Raiders have a legit quarterback. I would take Geno Smith over Spencer Rattler every day of the week.
Yeah.
So, and most importantly on Sundays. So the Saints just don't seem to have any kind of standout positional group to me at all. Like the closest thing is their wide receiver core. Chris Olave might be one concussion away from having his career ended for him. Outside of him, I don't like their skill position guys. Their offensive line is just like, no matter how many resources they put in it, they seem to just continually take steps back on their offensive line. Their defense is not good. I mean, like this has the markings of we're picking number 1 overall come April. So
yeah,
I think 5 wins is so beyond generous to me. So I know this is how they finished up last year, but that win total is going down.
It's going to be a shame, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Well, they've run their team like shit for a long time, and like this is what happens when you run your team like shit: is you get to be bad.
The bills come due.
Right.
NFC West, we got the Rams, the Seahawks, the Cardinals, and the Niners.
So tell me,
Eddie, this is your spot right here, buddy.
Yeah. So tell me what's different about the Niners this year than what happened last year. What's different about them?
For them? Hopefully, some health.
Right, some health. So Brandon Ayuk's going to start the season on like NFI or the PUP list or whatever. He's going to miss some games before he comes back. And then what does he look like? Now Brock Purdy is no longer a rookie contract quarterback. He signed his extension. I think next year is the first year of the extension. And then the offensive line still has Trent Williams and Dominique Pooney, but basically nobody else. So that's your left tackle and your right guard. I don't know. They lost a bunch of guys on defense, and they drafted almost only defense on this team. So, like, you are telling me you're going to war with Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle. Okay, starting off good. And then Juwan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall. Yeah. I mean, like, I like Juwan Jennings fine, but as a 1, I don't know. I've never seen him do it. And Ricky Pearsall has one of the most unbelievable catches I've ever seen, but it was in college. And, maybe they put it all together before, while Ayuk is out. But then I don't know that Ayuk makes that an unstoppable offensive force, and their defense is bad. Yeah. So I have them finishing right where they finished at the bottom.
Yeah, and while Brock Purdy is efficient and doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He's also not a needle mover. He's not a guy that's going to just carry you on his back with pulling amazing throws out when you absolutely need it and that kind of stuff. So he'll be efficient and he'll be pretty consistent and have fairly limited mistakes, but he's also going to not be your big play guy that just rescues a team when needed.
Exactly. So the remaining 3 teams are the contenders for the division. Here's how I see it. I have it as Arizona, LA, Seattle. Yeah.
Crazy talk.
So here's why.
So why? Tell me why.
So Arizona is this plucky 8-9 team last year, and people seem to only ever think about them as like a perpetually losing franchise. And it's a franchise that I think has crawled its way up into mediocrity, which is the worst place to be in any professional sport. But I think the Rams and Seahawks have potentially problems on their roster that if the injury bug hits those particular spots, they fall off a cliff. And Arizona, to me, has less of that on their roster than the other 2 teams. And so what I'm saying is, if those 3 teams have relatively the same amount of injuries, I think that the Cardinals will get to the top of that heap because they're better able to overcome injuries than I believe either of the other 2 rosters. Yeah. So now I think they'll all be close. Like they're all in 2 games of each other at the end of last season. So like all I'm saying is I think that the team that was 3rd and plays a 3rd place schedule, and I think has a roster that's more insulated to withstand injuries and has a bunch of young players. I know the other 2 teams have young players too, but the Cardinals have an absolute ton of them. And if any of those guys take a step forward at all, and not even big ones, just steps, I think that they have a talented enough roster to match the other 2. Now, if Sam Darnold has a year like he did last year and Matthew Stafford's healthy for 17 games, they're not going to be able to do it.
Right.
So, but I'm betting on the fact that like Sam Darnold is not who he was last year, at least until the last 3 games. And Matt's 37 and he's a veteran and doesn't need the preseason and all of training camp to go out on Sunday and look good. But like back issues
they're no joke.
Tough.
I've been there.
And I mean, like, what happens when he gets hit by a 260-pound 25-year-old playing like his hair's on fire, want nothing more than hit him in the ribs because he can't hit him in the head. So I mean, like, so I'm worried about those things. I think that the likelihood of those types of things happening is higher this year than it was in years past. This is all. So like once again, I don't think Arizona runs away with it, but it might be something like 3 teams at 10 wins or something like that, and they have the in-division tiebreaker or something like that.
Yeah.
So
I see the Rams as taking a decent step forward because their defense. I think Braden Fisk and Jared Verse and those guys, they were great as rookies, and obviously Jared Verse won Defensive Rookie of the Year, but Fisk was also 3rd place in that voting. Like he was not nothing, and they had Kobe Turner the year before. Like I think their defense is young, quick, and hungry, and I think if they take any amount of step up, I think they make their team better by probably a couple wins.
Could easily happen.
Yeah. But I mean, especially like to your point though, Stafford is 37. I don't say he's injury prone, but like at 37, it's a little bit easier to have to sit out a series or 2 or a game here and there with an injury. So their offensive line isn't particularly great. It's improving, but still not great, which means he's going to get pressured a little bit more and probably a little bit more hits than he wants on his 37-year-old body. I think this is probably his last year in LA. He probably retires after this, is my guess. Unless he plays all 17 games and has basically no injury-related things, I think this is his last year. And I'll be curious to see if he stays healthy and how they do. I think they could be anywhere from a 9-win team to about a 15-win team if the chips fall well and health goes well.
What do you have them if Matt misses time?
If Matt misses time,
I mean,
about the same result.
Let's say
if Goff misses time and Matt misses time, both teams are just screwed.
Yeah, I mean, but like, do you think that Stetson Bennett can step in and win a football game in the NFL?
I think he can win a football game. I don't think he's going to carry a team for a season.
Okay.
Like if Stafford goes out and he's like, yeah, I want to be out for this next game, I think Bennett, depending on who the other opponent is, he's not going to beat the Baltimore Ravens. He's not going to beat us if it happens to be a game against us, right? But like, I think if it's a game against the Cards or the Niners, I think he can step in and win it. It'll be tight. There'll be mistakes, and the defense is going to have to make up for it and get some turnovers to offset whatever he does. But a game here or there.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right. So playoff predictions. Who do you have going to the playoffs then?
So let's do the AFC. I've got Bills, Ravens, Chiefs, and Colts.
Okay.
And then I'm going to take the Broncos. Hang on one second. And then I'll take
Bengals.
I'll take the Bengals.
Yeah.
But that means that their season went well. I don't think it's going to go well. But I mean,
well, you got one more team though, right?
Nope, it's 6. Oh no, we have to do 7.
Yeah.
I'll take the Chargers, I guess.
Those are my 7 as well. I've got Buffalo, Baltimore. Actually, I don't. I don't have the Colts getting there. I've got the Texans getting there. Right. So I've got Buffalo, Baltimore, the Texans, and the Chargers winning their divisions. And then I've got Kansas City and the Bengals. And right now I've got the Steelers. But I think if I go back and look at things, it's probably going to be the Broncos.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So in the NFC, I've got the Eagles, Lions, Bucks, and Cardinals. And then for my 3 wild cards, I'll take Washington, Green Bay, and LA.
I've got Philadelphia, Detroit, LA, Tampa Bay as 1, 2, 3, 4 seeds. And Green Bay, Washington, and Seattle as 5, 6, and 7.
Okay.
I think those will all be really good matchups too, to be honest.
Yeah. So, who you got in the Super Bowl?
I'm clicking through that right now. So based on the seedings that I have, I'll just throw this right up here. God, this is gonna be a tough game. So this is how they're laid out right now. So I got Baltimore or Buffalo. One of those guys has to win, right? So I think if it's gonna be in Buffalo, I think I give Josh Allen, and just because this is a Lions podcast. How can I not choose Detroit? This is how I've got it shaken out.
Sure. Okay. I have it as – oh, wow. Okay, yeah. So I have Buffalo and Detroit in the Super Bowl as well. Do they give scores? No.
No.
Okay.
It's just pick them.
So, yep. So Buffalo, Detroit. We'll see if we get there, right?
God, that'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
It'd be fun.
What else do we want to talk about? Let's talk about our bold bets.
Yeah.
Do we want to do that, or do we want to talk about Lions standouts and kind of like predicting some of our players first?
We do a lot of that stuff, so let's do the bold bets thing first.
All right. What's your first bold bet, offense or defense for the Lions?
Offense.
Okay.
I'm going to cheat a little bit here because it's for 2 people. Bold bet. Lions offense. The Lions' new set of guards per PFF will both have 80-plus overall grades by the end of the season. And as a caveat, Christian Mahogany will score higher than Tate Ratledge.
Ooh. Both guards will score over 80.
Yes. So 80.01 is the thing I'm shooting for here.
Right on. And Mahogany's gonna be higher than Rutledge, huh?
Oh, by the way, I don't remember where I heard this, but I've heard one of the reporters that I follow for the Lions, say that the plan for Ratledge as of right now is that he's the center next season. So
I had heard that as well.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we're gonna
maybe
Miles Frazier's his time might shine, right? Who knows?
Or we draft one or pick up a different guard.
Yep.
I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but my offensive bold bet is Jared Goff is a finalist for the MVP, but doesn't win.
That's not that. That's not.
But I can't believe I'm actually going to say he's going to be a finalist because
they'd have to be 17-0 for him to beat out Patrick Mahomes and Allen and Burrow and all the ilk.
Lamar, all the AFC quarterbacks.
Yeah.
He did get he was 5th place in MVP voting this past year.
Mm-hmm.
He had some 4th and 5th place votes. Maybe it was 3rd and 4th, but he did get some votes. He had a great year last year. And I think we're going to keep it up. And if we can, the story is there. That's part of how do you get votes for MVP is the story you bring, what the media tells you or what the media tells of you during your season. So I think that if our offense continues to do what we've been doing and we win 15 games against some really high powered offenses, I think that story is going to be how can you give it to Joe Burrow when the Lions beat him? How can you give it to Jalen Hurts when the Lions beat him? Right? So I think those are the kind of things that are going to be all right, well, I'm going to give Jared Goff my vote for MVP. So that's mine. Finalist for MVP, but unfortunately, I don't think he wins. It'll probably end up going to a Josh Allen or Lamar that actually provides more value to their team.
Yeah, it sounds like a good one. So, defense,
let's do it.
My bold bet, I don't know how bold this is. Aiden Hutchinson will set the single season sack record with 24 sacks and be defensive player of the year.
Wow. I'm writing this down so we can throw it into our Discord for predictions to look back on.
Yeah, do it. That's pretty good.
With 24 sacks, huh?
Yep. So I looked it up. The single season sack record official is shared by Michael Strahan and TJ Watt, each who had 22.5 sacks each. Now that's an ESPN number. PFF does not hand out half sacks. So I am saying that Aiden Hutchinson per PFF will have 24 sacks credited to him by the end of the season.
That is bold. I was going to double down on my Hutch wins defensive player of the year. He would have done it last year, damn it, if that injury didn't happen. So that's kind of mine. But at the same time, I figured I'd do a new one. And I think that Terrion Arnold is going to be in the top 10 PFF grades for cornerbacks by the end of the season, or at the end of the season.
All right. I like it. If that happens, this defense, if your thing happens, well, I guess mine too, I suppose. But if either one of those two things happen, Lord help the NFL if both happen. Right?
Right.
Because you don't have time to throw and there's nowhere to throw it. So that would be great. I love it.
All right. What else you got?
So what were the other categories? We had offense, defense, team.
Something team related.
My bold bet is that the Lions offense and defense at the end of offense, defense, and special teams are all inside the top 10 by NFL rankings at the end of the season per PFF.
Wow, nice.
All three phases.
Yeah, so last year, my team-related pick was that we would sweep the NFC North, and that was one of the few that I got right. They are supposed to be bold after all, and the NFC North is really tough. So to win 6 games against those opponents is going to be tough. I do think we're going to sweep the NFC North again this year. But I don't want to, again, just like with Hutch, I don't want to just say the same thing as last year. So my secondary one is, I think Dan Campbell will not only be a finalist, but finally actually win Coach of the Year, as he should have been doing either last year or the year before. Either one of them.
I do think he should have won last year. But what really hurts is they gave it to O'Connell, who Campbell beat twice.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. Hey, Joe, what's up, man? Don't worry about tardiness here. We barely have any structure as it is. So
This is true. All right. So do you have any other Lions related ones?
I don't think so off the top of my head. Those were the ones that I felt I'd be willing to put like $5 on or what have you.
Right.
I've been pretty adamant that they're going to go 15-2 again. So I think that's pretty bold. So I'm gonna leave it at that. That's my preview for my last.
Do you have any non-line? Do you have any around the NFL bold bets? I've got 2 of them. One of which we already talked about earlier with Mike McDaniel being fired by Thanksgiving. But did you have any other non-Lions?
Why don't you do yours and I'll think about it real quickly.
Okay, so obviously Mike McDaniel I think is probably gonna be fired by Thanksgiving. But my second one is in New York. Jackson Dart will unseat Russell Wilson as starter by their bye week, which granted is week 14, so it's later in the season.
Oh, Jesus. Why have you given them a bye?
Exactly, right. But yeah, I think Jackson Dart will be the starter at least by the time that they come back from their bye.
I don't have a good one. I mean, there's some things that I guess I don't know that it's I don't know how bold it is, but I guess the one that I'll have is that Mike Tomlin will miss the playoffs for the first time in his career.
Ooh, that's a good one, and very
I think possible. he and Aaron Rodgers I don't think will work. If they work well together, it's because Tomlin has decided to defer to Rodgers, and I have not seen. Having watched Mike Tomlin give a press conference, I just do not see that dude deferring to any other person other than the owner. So I just don't see it.
I'm watching the Hard Knocks. So the current one is with Buffalo, and that's pretty good. I've gotten to like Josh Allen a little bit more. Not that I didn't like him before, but to know a little bit more about him and his personality. In between episodes, though, I've been watching last year's mid-season one, which was AFC. It was the whole AFC North. Yeah, with Cincy, Cleveland, the Steelers, and Baltimore. And Mike Tomlin's a dude, man. He I think you're right. He's not going to take shit from anybody. He's not deferring to Aaron Rodgers, no matter what Aaron Rodgers may want. So, he's a good coach, but missing the playoffs for the first time this year, that's pretty bold. It's what, how many years in a row now?
He has got to be, if he's not the NFL's longest tenured head coach, he's the second longest. I mean, he has been the coach. I think the Steelers have had 4 coaches in the history of their franchise, but he's been the coach of that team. I remember when Bill Cowher was the coach, but barely. So 15, 16. I think John Harbaugh is longer tenured, but I think it's those two guys.
His overall coach record is 181, 110, and 2. Trying to find the actual numbers for him.
Hey Alexa, who's the longest tenured head coach in the NFL? The longest tenured head coach in the NFL is
it looks like 2007, 2008 is when he was hired.
So 17, 18 years. That's good. That's a shot. That's a
lot of consistent years in the playoffs.
Years. Yeah. So, I mean, fate would just Father Time or whoever's going to serve eventually, right?
Yeah, either that or you go out and retire, right?
I mean, a couple of years ago they had like a scare or whatever where they didn't make the playoffs, or they made the playoffs and got embarrassed or whatever. And he was asked, this is when Lincoln Riley was going to go from Oklahoma to USC, and they asked him if he was going to take the head coaching job at USC, and he was pretty gruff about it. But I could see that. I mean, I could see something like he misses the playoffs, retires from the NFL, quote unquote, retires from the NFL, and goes and coaches some storied college team for 3 or 4 years and makes $200 million or whatever they make, $50 million, and then
it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, and then just kind of, he seems like a player's coach, and players coaches typically do well in college. So, they do well on both levels, but I would think that they have recruiting kids, 17, 18-year-old kids to come and play for you seems like something he'd do well. So.
Longest tenured head coaches. Number 1, Mike Tomlin, 18 years. Number 2, John Harbaugh, 17 years.
Oh, wow.
Andy Reid is third at 12 years with the Chiefs. Sean McDermott with the Buffalo Bills at 8 years. Sean McVay at 8 years. Kyle Shanahan at 8 years. All tied for essentially 4th place. So, 18 years and never missed the playoffs. Sounds like Nick Lidstrom.
Yeah. I think continuity is something that is not discussed enough when it comes to winning franchises. If you have continuity, you have the opportunity to be a team like the Ravens, the Steelers, the Patriots dynasty, because you have everyone knows which direction everyone's moving in, right?
Yeah.
And that matters. And Detroit has it now. Owners box down. So this core's got to stay together. Sheila, Brad, Dan. That's the core, right?
Yep.
So hopefully
everybody else is pluggable.
Yeah, we can settle in for a nice Tomlin-esque. Dan Campbell is our Mike Tomlin kind of a situation. So,
yep.
All right, man. What's next?
What is next? End of year awards predictions.
Sure, let's do it.
Coach of the year. I already picked mine. I got Campbell finally getting the recognition he deserves.
I'm going to say Sean McDermott because if Buffalo, so that's a regular season award, right?
Yes.
So if Buffalo goes number 1 in the AFC, I think that they'll give it to Sean McDermott. So I'm going to say Sean McDermott.
Sean McDermott. All right. Defensive player of the year.
Aiden Hutchinson.
Yes. Offensive player of the year.
I hate to do this because
last year it was Saquon Barkley.
And I'm gonna pick him again. So Joe, is this I'm good at spoken sarcasm. I'm less good at written sarcasm. Is this written sarcasm? So because I actually do believe that they represent continuity. So
I think he does too, because Shep was on our team. Morton came back. So I'm guessing it's not sarcasm.
Okay. Yeah. So like, I think that like it would be difficult to hire two coordinators who were as plugged into what the Lions were trying to do as the two guys that they hired. And I'm relatively certain that that's one of the leading reasons as to why they hired these two guys, is because they know what, like, Detroit wants to do things offensive and defensively a certain way, and these guys know what that is. So like, I think that's what got them hired predominantly. Okay, yeah. So now that I've talked myself into it, yeah, I think that he's making a good point. Good point, Joseph.
I have Jamar Chase winning Offensive Player of the Year.
See, I don't like that, and I'll tell you why. Is that someone?
I think he should have won it last year, to be honest.
So, like, if Offensive Player of the, I would agree with you if quarterbacks can't win Offensive Player of the Year,
right?
So that's fine. Oh,
yeah. So last year Barkley won it. Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna give
him a Barkley won it last year, and he was great. I think it's absurd to have a Triple Crown winner, which doesn't happen very often. There's only been a very small handful of Triple Crown winners. And for that person not to be recognized over a running back who admittedly was great. I thought I would have given it to Chase last year. I think this is his redemption year. And I think if Cincinnati does get their poop in a group early and have better numbers and make the playoffs, I think that was the other thing that held Chase back last year, was they didn't make the playoffs. So really, how impactful were you? But if they're going to put up 13, 14 wins, which is what I've got them at, I think is 14 wins this year. If that's the case and they overcome what their defense does, I think he's going to get it over Barkley. Barkley's my number 2 guy, but Chase is my number 1.
What was that term you used there? They're poop in a group.
Poop in a group. Get their shit together. Get their poop in a group. Yep. All right, MVP, most valuable quarterback.
Right. Lamar Jackson.
All right. He was my second. I got Allen as number 1. Jackson went back to back. I think Allen will go back to back.
Okay.
And I've got so my top 3 are Allen, and then Lamar, and then my bold bet of Goff as the third person in that finalist category.
Okay, that seems reasonable too.
Comeback player of the year.
No idea.
Oh, yes, you do if you think about it. He's also your defensive player of the year.
Aiden Hutchinson.
100%, right? Like if he comes back as defensive player of the year, how is he also not comeback player of the year, right?
Do they hand out multiple things like that?
I mean, they're voted on separately.
That's true. Okay, yeah, Aiden.
So I've got Hutch as that guy. I just can't imagine, even if he doesn't win defensive player of the year, because I don't know, maybe Myles Garrett goes nuts still, or Micah Parsons goes crazy. I think that Hutch still wins comeback player of the year.
That seems reasonable. I like it.
I believe this next year they're starting, I think they're calling it like protector of the year or something, but it's basically offensive lineman of the year, whatever they name that. Who do you have as the offensive lineman of the year?
I mean, so like I do think that Penei Sewell, if you factor in things like what he has done, his overall like size, strength, speed, and his age, is the best offensive lineman in the NFL. And I think that the people who vote on it don't see it that way. I think they would have people like Trent Williams and Lane Johnson, Jared Mailata ranked ahead of him. And I will say that it goes to Lane Johnson, even though I think that Penei Sewell is the best tackle in the NFL.
I've got Sewell on mine because A, I'm a Lions fan, and B, I think the voters are going to do the right thing. Offensive rookie of the year.
Omarion Hampton.
Interesting. All right. Why is that?
He's going to get a ton of work. Jim Harbaugh will run that motherfucker into the ground. I mean, like, so first of all, I saw a picture of him without pads on, and it looks like he has pads on. I mean, he is enormous. He is enormous. And, like, I would have made this pick pretty hard, even if Rashawn Slater had not been hurt. But, like, I think that their running game, Jim Harbaugh is going to force that running game to be successful. So I'll just pick up Marion Hampton. I mean, I like Ashton Jeanty fine, but like, let me see a running back that size tote the rock that many times in the NFL and be that good. When everybody knows that that's what they're doing on offense,
right?
Let me see that work out.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with Hampton.
All right, I've got Cam Ward. I think he's going. Quarterbacks tend to get a little bit more of that notice. B, I think Tennessee is so bad. If he can come in and win 5 games,
yeah,
like I think they're gonna be like, wow, this dude is amazing. So I think he's got a good opportunity in Tennessee obviously he's gonna be the starter, but also like there's like flashes of pieces around him that I think if they come together, it could be they could have a real special season and get like 6 or 7 wins. But like I think he's going to be just having a quarterback title gives him extra votes more or less. So I think it's going to end up being him over Genty or Hampton. Okay. But I can see any of those 3 actually winning it.
Sure.
Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Who's the kid from Penn State that went to the Giants?
Abdul Carter.
Yeah, him.
Yeah, that was my guy. The kid from Colorado State that plays both sides.
Colorado. Yeah.
Colorado. Yeah. He was my like runner up. I just think that edge rushers, those guys just tend to be a little bit flashier with sacks and stuff like that as opposed to cornerbacks. I think cornerbacks will typically win mostly when there isn't a flashy edge rusher. And so, yeah, I'm with you on that one. I think Abdul Carter. What's up, BD?
He just got it.
He's just got it. Those were the miscellaneous things I figured we would do today. We want to talk about any Lions in particular. Who do we think is going to be the most improved Lion?
The Lions have had a lot of guys take big leaps in year 2. Like Jack Campbell last year took a big leap. Brian Branch. There's more. But you got to remember, we only have so many year 2s in this on the squad right now. So it's still a pretty young squad. But I think that, to mirror something you said earlier, that if Terrion Arnold comes in, I mean, I don't even know that you need to do much more than he did last year except play cleaner. So, like, if he's figured out how to position his body and not grab, I think that, you cut out 6 penalties that are all first downs, no matter what a defensive. Is there a penalty that a cornerback can commit that doesn't give somebody a first down? So, like, if you do that and you take 6 first downs off the table during the season, I think that those are big deals.
Yep.
I don't think that he'll not be penalized because I think that's kind of ridiculous. But, like, Detroit wants to funnel the opposing team's passing game to their safeties. So instead of having the corners force the wide receivers out toward the boundary, they force them back into the middle of the field. So if he's picked up on how to do that well, in funneling dudes to Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch, neat. I don't need. I mean, like the Lions' corners are not going to be cornerbacks that lead the league in interceptions. They're going to be asked to press, play man, and be aggressive. So, I mean, like I think that he will get penalized, but at the same time, I think it's because the Lions are like, no, we're cool with that. We want you to be aggressive. Just don't wrap him with your left arm in front of the referee this time. You know, like
right.
You heard that Tesla didn't practice today. Do you think that that's a problem for this weekend? Well, let me go check that out real quickly.
So you've got, while you're looking that up, you've got Terrion Arnold as your most improved.
Yeah, I basically think like if he is the most improved, like I think that's the best thing that can happen for this team, to be honest. Yeah. So
yeah, he's my list as well. To your point, there are not a lot of rookies last year that, or even second year guys that would make that third year jump that we have to choose from. But I also picked him to be he's gonna be top 10 in PFF by the end of the season, and that is a huge improvement. I can't imagine anybody else making a larger improvement over that.
Okay.
Did you find anything out on Tesla yet?
All it says right here on Pride of Detroit from reporters who were at practice says, as of right now, there are no updates for Tesla or Nowoski. It's hard to imagine the Lions making that move by trading Tim Patrick if the rookie receiver is dealing with a serious injury. That said, something could have happened between the trade and now. We'll have to wait until Wednesday when the actual injury report drops to explain why he wasn't here on Monday. So, I mean, like, if this was Tesla goes down with a knee injury and had to be carted off or something at practice, like ESPN would have it. You know, Lions Twitter would have it. So, like, I just don't think
nobody knows what it is. It's probably not major enough where it's going to cause a problem.
My concern is for soft tissue injuries. Like, I do not want groin, hamstring, calf pull, high ankle sprain, anything in the ballpark of those things, because they tend to nag and not completely heal until
you nothing below the waist.
Ultimately. Right, prolonged. you need prolonged time off in order for those things to heal properly. You know, so like Vaki has been dealing with a hamstring like all of camp and all of preseason, and it just lingers because you never give him the appropriate time to actually have the fucking ligament heal back up. So, so long as it's nothing like that, you know, fine. You know, he might have had food poisoning, or he might have like dislocated a finger, or gotten drunk over Labor Day. I don't know, like, but I hope it's none of those things. And like, it might just be, yeah, he was dealing with a little something. We don't know what, maybe it'll never get said out loud. And he's back on Tuesday or Wednesday, and like, fine. But like, I don't think that he's going to line up and be 50 snaps out there. So
he's wide receiver 3.
Right.
And pass target 5.
Right. Yeah. So he might be, I mean, but like he might be also the kind of guy that's like, he might get 5 targets in a game, and it might be like 3 for 90 with a touchdown, you know? So like, we will just have to see.
He was originally going to be my bold bet on the offense because we've been talking about it for a while. Like, I think he's going to supplant Tim Patrick in the first probably 5-6 weeks. Then we traded Tim Patrick. I'm like, well, he doesn't have to wait till week 5 or week 6 to supplant Tim Patrick, does he? So
he does not. Yeah, you called that one.
Who do you think is going to be the biggest surprise, both good or bad? Your choice.
Christian Mahogany. I think Christian Mahogany will be the biggest surprise. I think Christian Mahogany, people seem to forget, like Christian Mahogany was, in his draft year 2 years ago, was quote unquote projected. I give credence to that. Like, Dane Brugler, Mike Renner, those kind of guys, the draft nicks, like I believe that stuff. And so they had him as like a 3rd round talent, and he slips to like 5 or 6. And from what I heard, it wasn't because of like testing or whatever. He has weird legs, and this just reeks of like the Moneyball, like Billy, this is Chad Bradford. His defect is that he throws funny, you know, kind of a scenario.
Right.
And there's, you know, a bunch of teams, every team in the NFL 2-3 times was like, including the Lions, was like, he's got funny legs. Until somebody, the Lions, were like, maybe, but that's pretty good tape, or whatever. Let's take him. I think he's just an absolute dude who's has a weird, quirky thing that nobody wanted to bet that, add to but you also took the weird leg guy. Cole Strange got drafted by the Patriots a couple years ago, I believe, in the same draft, and the Rams laughed at them for taking him at 25. He got cut this year, so
yeah.
I think so.
They didn't laugh at them. They just thought maybe he'd be around 2-3
they laughed.
I thought we might have a shot at him in round 3.
I think that Sean McVay literally stamped his foot on the ground. I mean, so I think I've been wondering about, so how we talk about people when NFL teams trade picks, they trade up for Isaac Tesla or whatever, and it's but he may not be worth 2 other 3rd round picks. Who knows?
Yeah.
I've been thinking about the opposite of that. If Christian Mahogany is a starting quality guard, even on a rookie contract level, if he scores as a starter, for any team in the NFL kind of a thing, level guard, and you get him in the 6th round, what should that 6th round pick really look like? If you found a dude that's a starting level left guard in round 6, what does history really say that player, where should that player should actually be drafted? If the entire NFL draft made sense, right? Which it does. So I've been thinking a lot about that as another way to kind of quantify how well Brad Holmes has done. So I think that he's an underdrafted player with weird expectations, and he's going to maul dudes this year. All Graham Glasgow, the only thing Graham Glasgow needs to do is call out protections and basically be you hit that guy, and I think Christian Mahogany is going to be an absolute truck. So
yeah, that'll be awesome. For my biggest surprise, I think is going to be, I've got 2 guys. I've narrowed it down. I don't know which one to pick. So I think it's going to be either Ratledge, and I think he's going to be even better than, he's a rookie, so any rookie playing really good is always a little bit of a surprise, just from you never know what you're going to get. But I think he may be wow, this guy is somebody that somebody should have drafted at 15, 16, really jumped up good. And I've got to narrow down to him and then Reader. And I kind of feel like there's an opportunity for Reader to also be a top 10, top 16, and have both those guys on both ends of the backfield to be elite or near elite. And so I would love to see either one of those things happen. If Reader is one of those biggest, because he came in as one of the better corner free agent options out there, right? So we got him knowing he was going to be and expected to be pretty dang good. But if he's a surprise because he's even better, win-win.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think that's a entirely feasible option. So
those were the things that I had. What did you have anything else pressing that you wanted to talk about?
Pressing, no. Here's one thing that I think is going to happen this year, and I think that your outlook on who Jared Goff is and what he's good at and what he's bad at will change this season because of the coordinator situation. So here, I think 2 things are going to happen. Number one, Jared Goff is going to be able to call plays at the line to some amount, right? He's allowed to check out of plays, or whatever right now. But I think 7,000. I think by the end of this season, you will say, no, I think Jared Goff's superpower is this. And we see every pass that the dude throws. So, it hurts more when he throws behind a guy or doesn't put it on his numbers or whatever. But I do think that him going through his reads and his accuracy otherwise and his ability to just run the offense is what makes him a quarterback as good as he is. And I think that your opinion will change. So I guess I have one about you. So I guess that my bold bet about you is that your opinion on that aspect of Jared Goff will be different by this time next year.
I'd love that. I tend to be someone who has an open mind, but it's still hard to get me to change my mind, even though I'm willing to. You got to work at it. So if he can do the stuff that makes me think differently, that means nothing but good news. I guess what's your biggest fear? So outside of Jared Goff getting hurt or St. Brown getting hurt, so outside of like major injury things, what's your biggest fear from this upcoming season? Like, what's the thing that you're like, oh, if this happens, eek?
I guess that it's just that everybody else's fears are real, like the turnover at coordinator shows its ugly head. Like the interior offensive line is terrible, right? That the loss of players like Ali McNeil. Oh, I did have another bold bet, but we'll talk about it in a second.
Yeah.
That like Ali McNeil is like sorely missed. And that like for whatever reason that the players don't live up to what the coaching staff expects from like that next man up mentality. That would be my biggest fear, is that like it just doesn't come together. Knowing how they're coached, I just can't believe that's going to happen. Mm-hmm. So I have a hard time believing that the players won't be ready, that the players aren't well coached, that the players aren't well prepared, that the players aren't motivated, that the players aren't in shape, that the players aren't well behaved off field. Like, all of these things that like detract from winning. I have not seen much, if any, of that. I mean, JMO's had a couple of things. There was that betting scandal a couple of years ago that a couple of Lions were caught up in. But like, I don't think that those are the kinds of players they've made that make up this team.
Right.
And it's like, it's guys, I mean, like, and the reason, like we were just talking about, like so many guys in year two, like take that step forward is because they're in here during the offseason. Like they're here working and like trying to get better. And like, that's the mindset that Brad Holmes is looking for when not only drafting, but like trading for, signing in the offseason, UDFAs that they bring in, like that kind of, like they all have this mentality. Like Grant Stewart is, I think, a good example of this season. Like this is a dude who's a backup linebacker who might be the primary kick returner. That's a weird combination of things, and he's here because of his attitude largely, and that he's willing to contribute on special teams. So my fear, fear is irrational largely. Right. And so I guess my fear is that the things that my logical side of my brain tell me these things should not come to pass, actually do for one reason or another.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm on a similar road, I think, as yours. And mine isn't as all encompassing as yours. Mine is, I think, like I'm not afraid that Hutch isn't going to come back being as good as he is. I mean, they had to institute the Hutch rule, right? Like, hey, this offensive play still keeps going on after Hutch sacks you. So that way the offense can actually practice plays, right? So like, I'm not afraid of that. I know some people are like, I don't know how he's going to be and yada, yada. I'm not as afraid of Shepard coming in and not doing as well as Aaron Glenn on the defensive side of the ball. My biggest fear is more on the offensive side of the ball. And if John Morton does not just even the status quo of like what we were doing, like, is there enough of a change where it's outside of Goff's comfort zone or something like that, where, because we've dialed into like what he's good at and the types of plays that work well with him, with our team. And like I think that if my fear is we stray away what we've dialed into and he regresses. And if Goff regresses, I think our chances go basically as they do for most teams, your Super Bowl chances go as your quarterback goes. So if we can stay dialed in and we can keep doing, and I think we will, right? Don't get me wrong. That's why it's a fear, because I think they will. But to your point, irrationally, gosh, what if it doesn't? If he doesn't stay dialed in, I think that it bodes very bad for us. So I'd love for you to be right about me, because that means all of that stuff did not come to pass, and that he's in there dialing things up and slinging the ball and doing what we need to do. So,
yeah. So, I mean, that's okay. He was named one of the captains too. Steward, yeah, he was. So what else you got today, buddy?
That's all I got, man. It's a good long Labor Day weekend. We had Friday off and Monday off for holiday, and I took Thursday off as a vacation day. So I got kind of an extra long holiday weekend. So it was good, and I'm ready for some football.
Yeah, I'm very excited for football this season. I don't get I have the streaming services, but I don't necessarily have one that shows college football, because I largely watch it with my dad, right?
Yeah.
So I don't need to have it in my home, which is kind of nice.
Great college football games this last weekend. Holy cow.
Yeah, there were. And I find myself being more interested in college football as a whole than the traditionally very, very narrow Big Ten lens that I view college football through.
Yeah.
But
interesting.
Because I think that the transfer portal and NIL have now changed the sport.
Oh, so yeah, it's a whole bunch of mercenaries.
So it's mimicking professional football, right? So
no, it's absolutely not.
Well, it is.
No, because you can transfer portal every single year wherever you want, wherever the next dollar comes from. You can't do that in the pros. You have a contract. It's for X number of years. You can sit out and try to force a trade, but it is absolutely not.
It's just a bunch of 1-year contracts then. I mean, that's the difference. So,
but the pros don't do that. That's not the way the pros operate.
But it's closer to the way the pros operate now than what it was prior to. So, I mean, that's my point, is that the college landscape is shifting closer to I do believe that college football would benefit from having a commissioner with actual fucking power, not the stupid NCAA. And, I do think that we will see the transfer portal stuff eventually get worked out, where it's like Penn State last year, their backup quarterback transferred between the end of the conference championship week and before the bowl game, and they're in the college football playoff. So, I mean, I think that you get that stuff worked out where you open up the window after the national championship game, and not before the bowl game. That just doesn't make sense. They have to figure out a way to get bowl games to
matter again.
Right, to matter again, because you're losing the thing that I think makes college football different than professional football, which is the rivalries. And bowl games are an excellent place to either create new rivalries or to keep your toe in on certain rivalries, or just have two rivals go head to head. Yeah. I mean, if it was something like Notre Dame USC in the Cotton Bowl, that used to really mean something. And now there are 3 times as many bowl games. I don't know why you have to win 6 games to go to a bowl game anymore. There's so many bowl games that I don't know that all. I mean, you might have not enough 6-win teams to actually get enough opponents for all the bowl games. So that's just too many. The problem with college football is that they're all just unbelievably massive whores, and that money is actually ruining, I think, what makes college football different than the professional game.
The last several years, I was never a huge college football fan. I just give zero shits at this point. It's one of those things where in the past you can be oh, remember when Peyton Manning spent 4 years at Tennessee and he did all this and set records and yada, yada. And now, like, if you're really good, you don't really play at any one place for more than a year. You go wherever the next paycheck takes you. And you, like I said, you just get mercenaries that just float around. Instead of a Peyton Manning who spent 4 years at Tennessee putting up these numbers, you get, player X who spent 4 years at 4 different universities making whatever amount of money. And I don't even care about the money piece. It's just the whole mercenary feel. There's no loyalty. How can you be a fan of like a team when your team changes every single year because people up and leave and go to a different team, like literally every year? Like there's so much turnover, and
but it's
makes
not
it less fun.
It's not every player on the team.
It's the best ones, the ones that you want to root for.
It's not the best ones though. I mean, like Carson Beck was going to lose his job at Georgia to their incoming like redshirt freshman quarterback this season because he shit the bed in their conference championship week and lost them the game. And then Miami came in and offered him like $4 million to come and play at their school for 1 year, but he has been at Georgia for 3 years. So like he had to sit behind someone in year one. He's been the starter at that program for 2 or 3 years. And then he's going to finish out his career, in Miami. And then he's going to go in the draft and he's going to be a day 3 pick, or whatever. Like Arch Manning was at Ole Miss, I believe, and then transferred for Texas. Joe Burrow was at Ohio State and left for LSU, and so like, yeah, I mean, traditionally, Jaden Daniels last year was at Arizona State, and then he went and he ended up at LSU, or like you can say Hendon Hooker was at Virginia Tech and then went to Tennessee. So like sometimes it's your coach changes. Like Michigan just played New Mexico in their first game of the season, and like almost all of New Mexico's starters were at Idaho last year. And it's because Idaho's coach left and went to New Mexico, and a bunch of players followed him to follow the guy that recruited them. And so like there is
that
a ton
kind of stuff
turnover.
I totally get.
Yeah.
Right.
So like the loyalty to the team isn't necessarily, if you wanted players to stay, you would force coaches to not be able to just quit and get out of their contracts.
Yeah. I think that's also something they should work on as well.
Yeah. If you want to retain players, then retain coaches, because I think that would cut down on the number of players transferring, because if you bumped up the coach retention, like it's less money than you would have to pay for all the players leaving, right?
Yeah.
So like you probably save money to your university just by making that investment. And if not, then yeah, you're going to lose players. And like there is plenty of the mercenary stuff going on. That is for sure. But like, yeah. I think that, I have watched college football my entire life, and I have gone to seeing like people sit for 2 or 3 seasons to have an opportunity to play one as a 4th year guy and a senior, and then go to the NFL at 22 years, 22 or 23 years old.
Right.
And like now I have watched, the NFL and college football change things so you can leave earlier, and now you have 20, 21-year-olds going to the NFL. So like those players were on the team less because you could go to the NFL earlier. And now NIL is like, yeah, you can
go anywhere you want.
You can go anywhere you want, so long as you're offered money, and a scholarship or whatever, because that's the other part of it still. But at the same time, like, I think we just watched like what really happens to a program when NIL tears them apart with Alabama on Saturday, because it's not like Alabama's starters are bad. But their depth is taking a huge hit, because a number 2 guy at Alabama is a first stringer at Georgia Tech. So like, it's hard to tell a kid, well, we're going to pay you more than you could ever possibly have hoped to make in college before, and you get playing time, but you just don't do it at an elite SEC school.
Right.
So I think there are pros and cons, and I think that the problem that everybody has is with NIL is that there's so many people doing it. But if you just Yeah, I wondered what you meant there, Beady Buster, like, because you were like a robot in the interior of the line, and I was like, I don't know what a robot means, but like, do I think that DJ Reader could be a Pro Bowler in the interior of the line? No, I do not. Here's why. He is a 2-down run stuffer. So 2 things happen. He is not on the field for the number of snaps that other defensive linemen are on, even in a rotation. And he has no stats whatsoever to back up how well he plays. And there's nobody that's going to base like a Pro Bowl vote on a run-stuffing nose tackle. So the kinds of nose tackles that get Pro Bowl votes are like Grady Jackson and Vita Vea, who do the things that DJ Reader does, and they rush the passer relatively well, 4 to 6 sacks a season, something like that. He made it before, that's why I asked. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know when that was. I believe he was a Pro Bowler, but like, if you want to tell me that was like he's 29 and in Cincinnati, that's different than like the situation that I think that he's in now in Detroit. So I think that he is a useful player, but he is not at the top of his respected position in the NFL. Like, I do think that there are other guys that I think are going to, quote unquote, eat up those spots like on a Pro Bowl roster. So he'll be an incredibly valuable player for us because of what we ask him to do. But I don't think that that's going to gain league-wide notoriety that would allow him to be voted to the kind of level that you're saying. He might play like a Pro Bowler, which is great. But I don't think that he'll actually make a Pro Bowl, which I don't think is a big deal, to be honest. Like, it might be nice for him, but I mean, hang on one second. I'm going to look at Let me just take a look at him on PFF just real quick.
While you're doing that, one of the things that I just noticed, the unofficial depth chart per the Lions actually has Khalif Raymond as wide receiver 3 and Tisla backing him up.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised about that at all. So, Mike, I'm going to share my screen here real quickly.
I'll allow it.
Thanks. So, terrible at this. So, let me make it bigger since I always yell at Mike. So, this is PFF. If you don't believe in PFF, this won't mean anything to you. This is the career of said DJ Reader. So, 2016 as a rookie, you expect that. 79, 76, 85, 69. That's the COVID year. Okay. Maybe not exactly the way that most years are supposed to go. 79, 85, 82, and then a huge drop off in 2024. So he played 566 snaps. I wouldn't be surprised if most of those were running snaps. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, it looks like most of them were passing snaps. So, of course, we did have that injury plague season last year. So he probably had to eat up more snaps doing things that he wasn't, quote unquote, good at doing, because they needed just healthy bodies out there. But a 20-point drop or a near 20-point drop from one season to the next is, in my opinion, relatively telling. If he goes back and he plays at between 70 and 75 per PFF overall grade this upcoming season, like, that is a straight win for this roster. And it probably means that Tyleik Williams is having the kind of impact that you could only dream a rookie impact could have. So Ali McNeil should be back. We still don't have a timetable for his return. I've heard October is a target date for him, but nobody's come out and actually said anything definitive. Mekhi Wingo is back and is ramping up. Pascal should be back at the end of the month, early October. Like, the nice thing about Detroit this year is that they might be getting healthier as the year progresses. That's pretty good. How long has he been on the roster, Mike? When did we get him? 2000? Is this his third year on the roster?
Reader, this is year 3 going.
So we got him in 2023, right? So his first year for us, he was great. He regressed last year, probably because of all the injuries around him. And then who knows? So Pro Bowl, I think coming back from the 2024 score would be pretty tough to get to that level, but like he doesn't need I just don't know that he's that player anymore. What, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is year 10 for him. Like I just don't think he's that guy any longer, unfortunately, but like we don't need him to be that guy. We don't need him to be a Pro Bowler. So if he is, great, but I'm betting on not. It's always easier to bet on not,
right.
Like it's just like, because it not encompasses everything you haven't thought about and everything you can't foresee, right? So betting on yes will earn you a lot of money, but it's longer odds, So
before we go, Drew, this is going into week 1, Detroit versus Green Bay.
Yep.
What is your prognostication?
So turns out that some of the rumors about Micah Parsons' back were actually correct. So he is dealing with a nagging back injury and he may need a shot in order to play. So
an epidural. He's given birth.
I mean, like, I don't want anything in my spine, but like,
oh, no, thank you.
So if he gets the shot and has to play or is going to play, that still means he's coming in on something like 12 days of practice with his new team. He's not like he's a tool. He is a tool that if the defensive coordinator figures out how to use that tool to the most of its ability, you're really getting something great. But like he might just be a hammer right now, and like the thing that he hammers at, it might be the best hammer that you can buy. The DeWalt special or whatever. At the hardware store, to make this stupid analogy even worse. But like, if I'm Detroit, I would rather have him defending the run than rushing the passer. And I'm sure we'll throw, and it'll be close to 50-50 on the balance at it. But I would run to the opposite side of the field from where he is. And I think that takes away what makes him special.
Yeah.
As a pass rusher, which now that they have him on the roster, if someone like Detroit, it's like, well, we're gonna run the ball 5 to 10 times more than we otherwise would because he's on the roster. Then we've had to change our game plan to some degree, right? And so that matters, So I mean, I think Detroit goes into Green Bay and does what we have done to Green Bay the last 2 seasons, which is to beat them up. And I think that Dan Campbell is the more aggressive coach. I think that LaFleur is a great coach, but he is more timid than Campbell. And we'll see if that trend continues. I don't think it's changing until I see it change. So I think that Dan will have the team ready. He will have the team aggressive. And we're pretty healthy right now. I mean, all things considered. So, I mean, I think that adding Micah Parsons was a great move for the Packers. Their roster can support it. Their salary cap can support it. But I am more worried about playing the Packers on Thanksgiving than I am playing them week 1. So I think we go in there, assert dominance. It's close through 3. And in the fourth quarter, the Lions pull away and they win by like 10 points.
I like it. Yeah, I think Mike is going to be an issue, as he always is, for every team he plays up against. I just don't think he's going to be enough of an issue. I don't believe in Jordan Love yet. He's a decent quarterback, but I think he's slightly better than average with a very, very high salary. So I'm not super worried about them. It's at home in Green Bay. I should say it's in Green Bay. It's at home for them, but I don't think that's going to matter. It's not going to be enough. I've got us winning by under 7. I just don't know how much. Maybe it's 7 or less. I think we'll win by a touchdown or less. A touchdown could tie it, but they won't do it. So I'm thinking probably something like 24-17.
It's entirely possible. I mean, our first game of the season, I'm thinking more. I mean, like just thinking how the Lions offense operated like last year, and like Morton already saying like if it's not broke, don't fix it. And like I mean, maybe there's some like warming up that needs to do, but like I think that's largely countered by the fact that Jared Goff is the one out there doing all this shit. Like I'm thinking more of like 31-21 or 35-28, some shit like that. Like defense is inherently reactive, and I think that like our offense is a better tone setter than theirs. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Matthew Golden is the truth. And like their offensive line isn't trash at more than one or two spots. So, but I just think that like overall the Lions roster is better. Their coach is more aggressive. I don't give a shit that it's in Lambeau because it's not snowing. So like, let's go. I mean, it's going to be perfect football weather from what I've heard. So
I love it.
I mean, you're not getting Jared. I mean, Jared Goff has not been quote unquote great outside, and you're going to give him an outside game on like a super pretty day. I mean, like, come on.
Yeah. Against a division rival.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we'll win. I think it's really tough to win by more than a touchdown, especially against a decent team, which is why I've got it as close as it really is. But I don't think it's going to feel close. I think it's going to feel like we've always had it in control.
Barstool Sports is saying the Lions are a 2.5 point underdog to the Packers. I'm going to go look.
Me.
I am going to go look at PFF. Always puts the betting line. Yeah, the Lions are underdogs to the Packers. We go, oh, put your money on this shit. Put your money.
Well, I mean, typically home field advantage gives you what, 3 points? I
might put some money in my DraftKings account and start betting on some of these games again because that's stupid. I mean, yeah, they traded for Micah Parsons 10 days ago or whatever, but like, come on. I mean, to favor the Packers, I think that's ridiculous compared to like what this team has done to the Packers, both in Detroit and Green Bay over the last 2 or 3 seasons. So hashtag ridiculous.
Let me share this before we go because A, it's hilarious, and B, it kind of goes into this whole Micah Parsons thing here.
What
do you think?
You are not a Micah Parsons away from a Super Bowl. If those kids could read, they'd be very upset.
All those Green Bay fans, they do not want to hear that.
So I saw something on social media over the weekend where Packers fans were asked which team in the NFC North they hate the most, and 75% of them said the Bears. And then the rest of them were split between the Vikings and Lions. So, I mean, like the Vikings and Lions are a distant third or fourth.
Yeah.
And I agree with the meme that it's like you're not a Micah Parsons away from the Super Bowl, but they might be wrong about that. I mean, like, I don't think it's so definitive that I think there's like four Super Bowl actual Super Bowl contenders in the NFL, maybe 5.
In the NFL or the NFC?
In the NFL. So like, I think there's like 4 or 5. So history has shown that you're not really in contention to win a Super Bowl if you don't have a top 8 quarterback. So technically each year there's 8 teams that are eligible to win a Super Bowl depending on how the quarterbacks shake out. Now, I think most of those, the top half of those 8 are largely going to be taken up by the normal suspects, right?
Right.
Okay, so let's lock them in. So, like, do I think that Jordan Love can be quarterback 5 through 8 in the NFL? There's a possibility that, I mean, if he plays his best season,
right?
Yes,
he could get to 8,
right? And so then you're there, right? And so I think that if I look at the Packers team, I think of their defense, you now have an elite player at each level of their defense. So you have Xavier McKinney, Edgerrin Cooper, and you have Micah Parsons. And the presence of those players makes the other people at those levels of their defense better just because they're there. So I think overall the defense is quite good. Offensive line, I have a real problem with the Packers because their good players have been hurt, but I don't know. So I'm looking at their scores last year from PFF, 68, 65, 65, 61, 85. So that to me is not the type of team that wins a Super Bowl who has a team that has a mediocre offensive line.
So who do you think your 4 are? If you think there's only 4, who are your 4?
I have realistically, I have Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, Eagles. So
you don't have us in that.
Well, we have not shown that we can do that yet. I think
that either have the Bills or the Ravens, but go on.
Well, I think that the Ravens of the 4, the Ravens are the ones who have quote unquote choked the most, right?
Right.
So, but the way that their team is constructed and the fact that there's a multiple-time MVP winner on there, they have the best running game in the NFL. I like the way that they are trending and how they've built their roster with they have a long tenured coach. And then the other guys are basically just these are the, Mahomes and Allen are 1 and 2 in most people's top quarterbacks in the NFL. And the Eagles are the defending Super Bowl champions. So and then I would have it as teams like Detroit is the sole tier 2 team. I think Detroit would be heads and shoulders above the remaining teams that are vying for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But they're trying to get into that tier 1. I mean, we've been to the NFC Championship game once.
Right.
They lost. We lost in the divisional round last year to a team we should not have lost to.
With a metric crap ton of injuries, at least.
Sure,
great.
I mean, but
it is a thing, right? We still should have beat them.
Right. We still should, in my opinion, we still should have beat them. We did not. And the first time that I've really seen Campbell and company outcoached, I thought.
Yeah.
So that was strange. But I'm very much a king of the hill type of person. And so the Chiefs are always there. I think the Eagles are a clear Super Bowl contender, having won it last year and largely running it back. But can Green Bay put themselves into that level? And it's so how does Jordan Love do? Does adding Matthew Golden change the offense enough to does the defense put the offense in enough good situations where they're able to our starting field position is 10 yards better this season than it was last season. Our turnover differential, which is maybe the most important thing in all of football, is how good is your turnover differential? Is our turnover differential so good that we have so many more opportunities to score points than our opponents that it's hard for us to lose games? We haven't seen a defense really do that maybe in a decade, I think the era of the 2000 Ravens defense carrying the team largely are done in the NFL. But can your defense be, is the best defense in the NFL good enough to make up 3 wins in a season? Because if it is, then Green Bay might have a chance at something like that. But if they were 13-4, they're probably winning the division, which means they've beaten us once, if not twice. And I think it's possible that that one player is enough of a shift to get you to the top of the hill, but every Super Bowl winner basically has to have stuff go right for them.
Right.
So do things go right for the Packers this year? That's the thing that we never can tell. But I think that they have put themselves in a position to need fewer of those things going right than they needed at, 2 weeks ago. So it's not as black and white as the meme makes it seem, but I do think it's a real
still
thing.
mostly
Otherwise,
right.
Who trades for Micah Parsons then, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly.
For me, I think that I've got 4 teams in each conference. I think Philly, Detroit, LA, and Washington are the 4 teams in the NFC that could realistically win a Super Bowl. In the AFC, the Bills, the Ravens, the Chiefs, and the Bengals are my 4th. I've got them over that group of is it the Chargers? Is it the Broncos? For my 4th, I think those are the 8 teams that are going to be really coming down to the wire to fight it out. But we'll see how the Bengals can't be one of those teams that they don't make the playoffs, and they're not going to make the playoffs if they start out as poor as they did last year. No matter how hot they finished, they started poor enough where it didn't matter. So let's see how the season goes.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. Do you think the 49ers are done? I think the 49ers, this will be the last thing I say. I think the 49ers problem is they have on offense, they have relied on playmakers outside of the quarterback position to carry the team. Detroit's doing the same thing. But now I don't know that some of those playmakers are hurt. And on the defense, they lost a bunch. And they drafted a bunch of really talented guys to come in and do that. But most of them are just good at defending the run right now. So I think that they can be a good team that's going to get thrown all over them. And in the NFC West, those teams are going to throw. So do I think they're done? No, but I think they're in a different cycle of their roster right now than they have been when they were going to the NFC title game every other year with Jimmy G and all that.
Going and losing.
Yeah, going and losing. So
that's not true. They won some and lost the Super Bowls.
That's true. But I don't think
any team lost the next game.
Yeah. So Mike's being real spiteful over there for some reason. So
it is.
But
I think
no
they still
team
won a
has
Super Bowl more recently than Dallas has, haven't they?
Oh God. The decision making at the highest levels of the NFL per team are, you just want some psychologist to look at them and can you tell me what's going on? Yeah. So anyways, I don't think they're done, but I think that they are rebuilding.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, we went for nearly 2 hours,
yeah,
but it's good when we get to talk about the upcoming season and all the interesting things. So Sunday in Green Bay, hopefully come out with a dub, and then we'll talk all about it on Tuesday.
I can't wait talking about our first win of the season. So
right on. All right. See y'all. Appreciate y'all for joining in.
Thanks, guys.